Going straight to the Stax record label. Not as big, not quite as big as Motown in 1965, but it's getting there. It's sort of getting there. The legends step up to the plate. But we got, oh gosh, a Lost 45, the week of July 10th, 1965, Billboard's Hot 100. Let's go to it right now. But before I talk about this Lost 45, the top 5 hits from that week, July 10th, 1965. We're in the summer of 1965, cranking the time machine wide open on all 12, 14, 20 cylinders. Wooly Bully at number 5 by Sam the Sham. Wonderful World by Herman's Hermits, the Sam Cooke record at number 4. Mr. Tambourine Man by the Byrds at number 3. And Holland Dozier Holland, production classic, Motown. Number 2, Four Tops, I Can't Help Myself. And I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones at number 1. That would be the song that would propel them into superstardom. They had about 2 top 10s before they came out with this record, at least here in the States. And that they just got on a roll in 1965 and 66. But that's another story. I'm not going there right now. Let's get to this great soul classic, making its debut at number 85. You might remember this. It's one of these songs that was played in one market. Say it was played in Detroit, on a radio station in Detroit, on a pop station in Detroit. But then it would not be played by a pop station in Cincinnati or Milwaukee or maybe Los Angeles. That's just the way it went back in the 60s. Candy by the Astors at number 85. The Astors from Memphis, Tennessee. They attended the same high school together. 4 guys in this band, and they were originally known as the Doontinos. They played the Bill Street. They did the Bill Street, the legendary Bill Street in Memphis. Then they got the hankering to move up north, drawn to the bright lights of New York. And they moved to Buffalo, and it's awfully cold in Buffalo. It gets cold down here in the South, but up in Buffalo, it gets really, really cold. And they didn't like it up there. Nothing happened. They took some jobs up there, but nothing happened in Buffalo. So they relocated back to Memphis. Did some backup vocals for Carla and Rufus Thomas. Released their first single in 1961 rather. You Make Me Feel So Good. Curtis Johnson, written by Curtis Johnson, group member Curtis Johnson. And this gets interesting. This is when they changed their name to the Chips. They called themselves the Chips. And homage to Chips Moman, who apparently produced this record. Their first record, Chips Moman, a legendary DJ, who later produced Suspicious Minds by Elvis, 1969. Kentucky Rain, produced by Chips Moman by Elvis. But he wasn't that famous still in the mid-60s. And they changed their name to the Astors in 1963. Curtis Johnson joined, I think it was the Air Force. He joined the military in 1961, but he still recorded on leave. And he recorded this record, Candy, while he was on leave. Candy, their biggest hit from the Stax record label. Guess who wrote it? Steve Cropper of Booker T and the MGs. He wrote it. Isaac Hayes wrote it too. Went to number 12 R&B, but on Billboard's Hot 100, got as high as number 63, and that's it. But it was on Billboard's Hot 100, though, for over 2 months, 9 weeks. And they played the theaters. They played the Apollo. They played the Howard Theater in Washington, and they played, I believe it was the Imperial, which I think was in Chicago. And they played with James Brown. They got down with Mr. James Brown. They played with the James Brown Review, toured with the James Brown Review for about 2.5 months. So they were going places for a while. The Astors on Billboard's Hot 100, July 10th, 1965.